thing. I have headphones. Someone got me these headphones, and they have the little sponge-a-doo.
Yeah.
And this one's missing, and I can only assume it's now in my cat's colon somewhere.
Yeah. Ugh. Gross. Yeah, I've got some that are like that I bought at a road stop. It was the one year that I decided to drive from Lexington to Virginia, and I was driving I left Lexington at 1:00 in the morning. So I was driving through the night through the West Virginia mountain passes, and that was when I was still pretty heavy into listening to the Nerdist podcast,
right?
And they were really cheap quality, trucker gas station, but they did the trick. And so I've still got them, and I think I even used them one time when we were doing our first set of Up for a Challenge, but they bled noise a little bit. So
you've got the nice ones, you got the over the ears.
Well, I did that because the ones I usually wear, I left them at work on Friday. And so these are actually my Paul...
your monkey ones.
These are
great.
my Paul Frank ones. My Paul Frank Skullcandy that I got for $10 at Best Buy.
Nice.
Yeah, these are $80 headphones, and I got them for $10 because they've got the Paul Frank monkey on them, so nobody wanted to buy them.
But they're great. That's awesome. We were at Brookstone, and Brookstone has those light up cat ear ones, the cat headphones. Mm-hmm. And we went in there and I put in an order for them thinking all right, fine, whatever, I'll give you my information. And then I was reading reviews and they were so mixed. They were yeah, the cord isn't long enough, so I had to end up buying an extender. And sometimes the microphone works and sometimes it doesn't. And I was for $180, we're not, no. I like them because they're cat ears, but I can glue my cat ear headbands on a pair of headphones and call it a day.
Right. I also last night actually listened to last week's Up for a Challenge.
Oh, what do you think?
Well, it was interesting because first I watched the raw footage, or listened to the raw footage of the video capture, because I know Jeff had said that was, maybe it was just unedited. It felt like parts of it were edited. I don't know. But, and then was comparing it with the audio version, which I know he did say he chopped up a little bit. And bravo to him, because there was, I thought it was pretty seamless knowing where some of our gaps were. But no, it was just interesting. And I then went back and listened to the last episode of the first season, because Jeff said something about, and I didn't think about it, because I'm in this giant, basically hard surface room now. And I could hear a difference, a big difference between, there's just a little bit of a reverb. Yeah. It's not, if you, I don't know, maybe if you didn't compare the two together, you might not notice it. But yeah, it was a much cleaner sound when I was at my desk in Lexington, surrounded by lots of soft surfaces to suck that noise up.
I noticed last week that my voice was considerably deeper. That I was I don't sound like myself. Well, that makes sense. But I was it was deeper, and watching the footage, my face was it looked like I gave it looked like I gave zero fucks, and I was wow. But my voice just sounded so different. It was it didn't sound like me. To me, it didn't sound like me. I sounded like
that was the other thing too. Last week's episode, and I don't know how much of it was the hard surface room or I don't know. It just, my voice sounded squishy, like the soft palate sounded just squishy. I don't know. It just sounded a little bit different.
Well, it's because you and Jeff have this problem. Well, not a problem. It's because you both have such deep, resonant voices that when it comes into contact with a harder surface, you hear the vibration off of that, and so you hear the little a higher nee.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, because it wasn't there with the episode 6 that I listened to. It was a much cleaner sound. So I guess that makes sense.
You can put your pillow in front of it, and then like a blanket, and then that's how you can do the show. Just make a little blanket for it with a pillow, and be I'm doing the show now.
I need to do that.
That's next week's episode. We'll all have blanket forts.
We'll call it pillow fort.
I like that, pillow fort, and then it's good. We'll inform Jeff of this, or we'll just do it and not tell him, and he can be the odd person out and see how he takes that.
Well, with all those drink containers Jeff has in the background, he looks like he's broadcasting not broadcasting. He got on to me for that recording. He looks like he's recording from like a McDonald's dumpster. So
well, that's where he gets all of them. He dumpster dives. He barters with hobos. Like, hey man, I got
a handy for another drink here.
I was gonna say I have some soggy fries, but you know,
I got something that can fix that. Ooh.
Gross.
Yep.
Enjoy this, Jeffrey, when you're listening. Hobo Handies. That's the name of my punk band.
That's good. Well, we, I think last week I was telling you and Jeff about, it was after we were done recording, about the Chinese, the Chinese envoy or whatever that was going to be coming. No, I didn't
hear that part. I was,
that's right.
I was off and on of like being with it, and then I was like, I gotta go.
I'm out. Yeah. Well, last week, because I had just gotten the news the day before from my boss, she was describing this thing that she had met these people last time that she was in New York at this big arts event. And there's this group called the Harmonia Group that work out of New York. And they are a nonprofit whose the sole reason they exist is to do cultural exchanges with all the theaters that are in China.
Oh, wow.
Because China, they put a lot of money into the infrastructure. So they've got each province in China has its own dedicated arts complex with theater and people to staff it, but they don't have programming. They don't have programming in it. And so typically they fill a lot of their programming by bringing people from out of country and overseas. And so this group, Harmonia, exists solely to fill that programming. And in the same time, then, maybe take some Chinese artists and bring them over and do like a sister share program with Western theaters.
Right.
And so apparently they've never partnered exclusively with a children's theater before. And so last week I was telling Jeff that my boss got this news that at some point before December 20th, these two people from the Harmonia Group were going to come visit. And apparently they were here yesterday.
Oh.
So she and our artistic director, Adam Burke, were showing them around, and, they were dropping in on classes, and I think they saw our world. We premiered a new Joan Cushing musical called Ella's Big Chance, which is wonderful. Everybody should perform this play. It's a jazz age version of the Cinderella story.
Oh, cool.
Based on a book a picture book, which is now out of print, but I'm thinking in the next year or two, as this title catches on, they'll probably put it out there again. But it is just fantastic. Like the music.
Is it based off of, what is it, the Ella Enchanted series or the whatever?
No. This is no, because that's different.
Oh.
Ella Enchanted is a different.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
I don't.
Yeah, that one, she's got like some curse where.
Oh, all right.
She has to do what people
Cinderella-y,
tell her.
And I just,
Yeah, and that's the thing is because the name is Ella, it took, like trying to remember months ago when I got here, and everybody that in my organization was having trouble remembering what the actual title was. So it was like Ella's Last Chance. I was referring to it as like Ella got her groove back. We could not remember the title of this damn show. But no, it opened about a week and a half ago now, and it is just fantastic. And it's still in development, so it'll probably change a little bit as the next production happens.
Right.
And Joan works with those playwrights, but
that's exciting.
So
that's exciting.
Yeah, but so the Chinese were here, and I got to talk to them a little bit about what my job is, and they were very excited that they have a dedicated curriculum person. So I hope I impress them. And the only thing I hope is I'm like, all I really want out of this is a trip to China.
Right?
That's all I'm really asking.
Right? Do you need some teachers? Because some people who are great teachers of theater kids. I'm just saying.
I do. And so that is my secret dream that is sustaining me with all of these discussions with this group, even though I know that I am probably so far down on the totem pole as to who would probably be sent over there to,
you never
scope
know,
it out.
though. You never know.
It's true. It's true.
If you go to China, I just want you to adopt or hug a panda bear Or adopt him, and then we'll take care of him in the wild, and he can have all his bamboo, and he can have other panda friends. And
Well, I'm gonna go over there because I've heard that pandas are really bad about figuring out sex. So I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna surrogate pandas.
Okay,
and
cool.
teach them how to sex.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just because they're so cuddly and fun. They're like, no, we don't want to do this. We just want to roll around and hug. We don't have time for other
No, that's not how you make pandettes. No.
No, it's like, oh, we hug and feed each other bamboo. Love.
Yeah. No.
And then they dance like this, and then they're like la 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 la. Pandas are great.
Well, hello everyone.
You're pandaing wrong.
Oh, I'm
You're
not.
pandering.
I'm
Pandering.
panda-ering.
No.
We all went for the joke, and somehow none of us grabbed it.
We didn't.
Nope. I just kept setting up, not realizing what I was doing. So, meh.
All right, are we ready? We're 4 minutes early, but
look, Hoba Handy McGee, we are ready when you are.
Yeah.
what? Hobo hand?
Hobo hand. We've created a whole backstory with
you.
your drink carrier sound dampeners that
Yeah.
are behind you. So I can't wait for you to listen to it later.
Okay, well, in that case, we'll go ahead and start.
All right. So I need to hit record on GarageBand, right? Right?
You somehow know the things to say, like the exact combination of words and phrases that raise my blood pressure. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I hit start broadcast. Come on. There we go. Go live. Going live.
No.
Supposedly.
Nope.
Starting. Maybe.
Oh, there you go. You know why it took so long,
now
Jeff?
we
You
are on
didn't
the
count
air.
down, and you didn't clap, so it didn't know.
Yeah.
It was waiting
Oh,
for
I
you to
see.
say some numbers. And
Okay. Well, we're live. We're a few minutes early again. So
We're going to make that a theme for this season. I guess.
yeah,
be early.
punctuality. Too bad you guys used up all the interesting conversation in the pre-roll.
That's not true. That's not true. I've got loads of banter.
I got loads
Loads.
of something.
I'm overflowing with banter.
I have to say, I am disappointed that you didn't lightning bolt your beard for me. I'm a little.
Oh, that's right.
I'm disappointed about that.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah, Sarah pointed out because we did a hangout while Jeff and Sarah and Aaron were all at Aaron's house for Hanukkah celebration, and when I finally chimed in, the little white on my beard
Did we lose Adam?
here
I lost
was
him.
all kind of
Did I
zigzaggy
lose everyone?
and pointed out that it
I
kind of looked
alone?
like a lightning bolt, which then
In this broadcast?
kicked off a good 10 minutes of Zeus jokes.
did.
So,
So next week,
yeah. You want to see my lightning bolt again? No.
Do I retry the broadcast?
I don't want to get fined by the FCC.
well, we could just we could put a lightning bolt graphic over it, and then it would be very funny.
Sarah, did you lose the hangout?
Yeah, like the what is it? The thing that with the FaceTime where you put the weird
like the eyebrows
hats
and the crowns and stuff on it. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the hell that is. Yeah.
Oh, it's
we'll get me a little lightning bolt.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think Jeff froze. Jeff is frozen.
I dropped out for some reason, so I will.
Do you want to come in and
Okay.
join us?
No. It's easier for me to be in there, but.
Fine. I don't want you in my
Yeah, well-
part of the studio anyway.
Oh, okay.
That's what we get for trying to start early.
Right?
But we're live, so people are potentially watching this.
Right. It's funny.
guess-
Your voice just
refresh.
like the reverb just got really for. It's because you were talking in
Really?
your Zeus voice. We were talking about Zeus, and then you became like Zeusy.
My Zeus voice.
Yeah. And you go, caw.
Caca. Well, I guess I got to figure that out how to dampen the sound in here.
Telling you pillow forts, man. We're gonna pillow fort it up.
Trying to get.
Yeah. You just don't know. Like I don't have any furniture,
flat,
so like literally, this is a
furniture.
I'm trying to do an estimate. This is a 16 by 10 foot giant wooden room with only furnished with more hard surfaces, a few tables, a bookcase.
Well, you know what's free? Drink carriers. And you know where you get drink carriers? In the city.
In the city? Oh, got to work on my technique.
I guess so.
Wow. But so after I got off of the Zeus chat with you guys yesterday, I finally nailed down my Christmas shopping. Finished up my Christmas shopping. Yeah, so it was stupid easy because I just have to shop for 6 people essentially. And I was dead set against my oldest nephew Tyler. He is in he's right on that cusp of being a teenager.
Oh, he's preteen.
Right?
That's almost harder in a way.
Yeah. And we used to play video games all the time, and I was fine with it. And he's kind of segued into the more violent ones, like the Call of Duties and the Halos and thing. And he is just like zhunk, like he does nothing else or wants to do nothing else than stare at a screen. So I've been kind of backing away from it more and more. And after I was there at Thanksgiving, I just flat out was like, I can't support this anymore. So I was racking my brain trying to figure out. And so I taught him how to play poker and blackjack about 2 years ago. And so I bought him a chip set. So hopefully that will lure him away.
Right. Instead of violent video games, he'll just have a gambling addiction as he gets older.
Right. And that's the thing is when I taught him 2 years ago, he was so good. Like he caught on to it real quick. And I taught him my blackjack method, which is a way that you kind of play the favor of the odds, the likelihood of what's supposed to come up. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win. You're just playing the likelihood of what potential number combination could come up based on what's showing. Right. And it's always been successful for me. I've always walked out of casinos with a little bit of money or breaking even.
Right. And that's good, because the instinct, a lot of people think it is luck, and part of it is luck, but it's also instinct, because you have to know, you know what I mean? Like, you have to know cards well enough to know decks and know if you played enough cards, the probability of something happening.
Yeah.
So.
Although, the thing that has happened, the new thing that casinos have introduced since the last time I went to one, which has been a couple of years, is they used to be, they'd have 4 to 6 decks stacked together that they were drawing off of, like built into the table for blackjack. And then what would happen is they would put them in the discard chute, and then after they went through so many, then they would run it through the machine that would shuffle them all together now. And so you could play, your odds could potentially increase as the draw went on, because if you burn through all these lower cards,
the higher cards are.
Yeah. Right. However, they invented this thing a couple of years ago called a continuous shuffle machine, which means as soon as they are done with the cards on the table, they put them in the chute and they are randomly inserted back into the original shoe. So it levels out, it puts the odds back in their favor again.
Right.
So, yeah. But whatever. It's fun.
Because the house always wins.
Eventually, they do. Yeah.
Well, I see we started talking about gambling while I've been away.
Yeah, just life skills that you should.
Did anyone do a little introduction, or should I say hello?
Well, we were waiting for you to come back because we weren't sure. We weren't sure how this was going to be cut. So,
sure. No,
now 4 minutes in,
go in the bin.
4 minutes in. Let's do introductions. Why don't you start, Cricket?
Challenge. Oh, okay. Welcome to episode 8 of Up for a Challenge. I'm Jeff. I'm wearing a Cricket shirt. And this episode, we're going to find out the results of last week's challenge, and we will also get a new challenge. But before we do that, let's find out who else is sitting around the table, starting with you, Miss Lady.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lynn Herman, actor, mask maker, and overall crafty bitch. Crafty lady, because you can't say the B word on television.
You can't say the B word?
Jeff doesn't like it when I use words.
You can. It's fine.
He always,
fine. No,
you can.
He clutches his pearls.
Sorry, I thought there were rules that we were supposed to be following for Google Hangouts that I wasn't aware of. Sorry, I just had a little panic moment. All right, so I'm Adam. I'm the bitch in Charlotte.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a teacher, educator, right now curriculum coordinator for Children's Theater of Charlotte. And I'm here to talk.
I just got a job. Sorry, I completely forgot. I just got a job. So yesterday, life was chaotic. Or Monday, I don't know, whatever day. Friday or Saturday? Friday. Everything was going crazy. And I was on the phone with the Obama Market Care place because the internet was being dumb and I had 3 days to sign up. And then I get this other call, and it's like, hello? Hi, Sarah. You auditioned for our touring company, and we didn't hire you originally, but someone's dropped out, and now we would like to give you a job. Okay, thank you. So now I have a job.
Yep. That's great.
All right. Speaking of dropping out, Scott has just dropped into the chat room. I think I'm going to play a game now where every time he comments, it's going to be a different made-up handle. So Trucker456 from Wichita says... Tony language, and I don't know what Tony language means, but I'm sure it's a quote.
It's the bitch, right?
But who's Tony?
Like Sopranos?
No, I think like
we're doing HBO language. Yeah.
Oh. I thought it was like Tony, like high class, like we're Tony. We're using classy language.
Oh, I see.
Like
I see.
like
Maybe?
the Tonys,
Theatrical
like
language.
Broadway the
Yep.
Tonys. Ah-cha-cha.
Or maybe Scott was giving us a regional Tony for this.
Or maybe it's an
podcast.
Iron Man reference.
Oh. Wow, there's so many things.
All right,
many things.
we'll never know.
We'll never know until he comments again.
User Dark Phoenix High Heels 7713 from Sheboygan wanted to let us know that Language Tony is a quote from Age of Ultron. Sequel to the ever popular
I didn't
Avengers
hear
movie.
language, Tony. I just
Avengers,
heard Tony.
Age of Dennis.
I heard Tony language.
Oh.
That's what I read. But I think that's the quote.
I don't think that would have helped us.
No.
But now that you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I remember when
I don't remember.
I don't.
I remember because at the beginning of the movie, and Captain America gets onto Tony Stark for using foul language when they're storming the castle, and then at the very end or towards the end, Cap actually swears, and Tony then reverses it and gets onto him.
Just slipped out. Find the scepter. And for gosh sake, watch your language.
How do you remember that?
I am sometimes a sponge. I'm a sponge.
Age of Dennis.
Age of Dennis.
That's right. Well, speaking of watching things on the big screen, Adam, you had the challenge this week of only being able to watch content you found on Pluto TV. And
Not the planetoid.
Right. Sarah and I had the slightly less interesting challenge, which was a dry run of not having cable and doing just streaming. Sarah, I think maybe we should go first because ours is probably a little shorter. What was your experience like, Sarah? Do you think we should cut cable now?
I do think we should cut cable. I did cheat the first official day. Because
Wait,
I was...
let's all enter the church of Holy Television Confession.
Right, yes.
Yes, child. I hear that
Forgive
you have
me,
watched
for I was
television.
sick and decided that I really didn't get to catch up on my show before I started the challenge. So I watched one episode of Into the Badlands, and then I was like, okay, done. And then I confessed to you, so
confess
I'm
over the
going
phone.
until Monday of no television until tomorrow.
I already cheated on the challenge.
No, you were there. You had conned to lunch. I was like, hey, I cheated. And you're like, what? I was like, I just watched an episode because I didn't get to watch it yesterday.
Challenge. I cheated on the challenge.
Yeah. Why you gotta go there? No,
Because
sir.
it was funny. You put the
No,
pause.
no humor.
No humor, Jedi.
Boo! Rubbish! Boo!
So yeah, short version. Totally possible to cut cable today.
Well, we discovered a lot of good shows.
Noise. But you initially had an issue with a lack of background noise.
I did because I work from home a lot, and the house gets really quiet, save for when the cats are going crazy. So I usually just have the TV on just for to hear people, so it's not so deadly quiet, And I missed that. But then I started getting creative, and I was like, well, what all does the vast landscape of Hulu and Netflix have for me, and Amazon Prime, since we have that now? And I discovered The Great British Bake Off, which is an awesome show. And I learned a lot about British cooking. I watched The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 on Hulu. I got creative with things I could watch. Like, what am I doing? So...
I just like to say I really appreciate that no one whistled into the microphone because that would have been terrible when she mentioned Hunger Games.
I don't know. I listened. It took me 6 months to listen to the first Hunger Games book on audio, like on audiobooks, and I was just like, meh. So I've never seen or read or experienced anything beyond that first one.
Oh,
so.
I haven't either.
I enjoyed reading them. I read them. I read all 3 in 4 days. Because I was in Portland and losing my mind, and I just went to Barnes & Noble and spent the day there just in a corner reading like a nerd. Sure. And then it was funny as I was reading the books and the first movie had come out, and at the mall I was at in Portland the bookstore was there. You walk a couple feet and there's the movie theater. So I finished the series and I rolled over and I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch the movie now. And I was disappointed in the first movie. I was like, no, the movie wasn't as good, but they've gotten better. They're getting,
Yeah, there might be, I guess now that the last one just came out, I may try and watch all the movies back to back, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Speaking of watching movies, natural segue here. Adam, so you spent a week watching Pluto TV. How did it go?
It was, all right, so I got a little excited or going back to the Church of TV Confessions, when you made the challenge last Sunday and said that it would start at midnight. I was way behind on my Doctor Who watching. So I did make the decision to binge watch the remainder of the season last Sunday.
And what did you think of it?
Oh, it was, I really, well, there were parts that I really liked. I loved the heaven sent thing. And then I started to hate the Hellbent one, but then liked where it ended up. But that's another discussion. Okay. But so I binge watched all of those and then jumped into watching Pluto TV actually that night. So I get some bonus points for starting a few hours early. I just want to throw that out.
You made up for my cheating.
Does that counter Sarah's cheating? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it balances everything.
Join us next week for Adam Alone in a Room's Doctor Who's podcast. Adam's Doctor Who binge watched. We'll do a thing. You watch the whole thing and you come off. You're like, okay, I've been up for 24 hours. I've watched the entire season in one go, and here's what I think.
I've really enjoyed Capaldi's performance. Like Peter Capaldi, I've really enjoyed his Doctor.
But when you got to Pluto TV, what happened?
Yeah. So so the very first night, I jumped in and just started clicking on things. And where I ended up landing, at least that first night, was there was a whole channel dedicated to Mystery Science Theater 3000. And so I was like, great. And so I started by watching that. And actually going back to Sarah's comment about having background noise on, I typically, with the Hulu subscription, there are shows that I dedicate it to and watch, but I frequently use Hulu to go to sleep. I'll turn on like Parks and Rec and fall asleep to noise. And so that's what I ended up doing with MST3K that first night was I watched about an hour of the episode and then started to nod off and fell asleep while it played in the background. And so then the next day I went into full investigative mode and like scrolled through the channels and tried to click on everything and watch a little bit of everything. I did skip over the sports stuff because I don't care about sports, so I'm not going to gain anything by watching all the sports channels that are there. But I'm also a big news guy. I like knowing what's going on in the world. I like knowing what's happening in our Congress. And a big funnel of information to me is Rachel Maddow's show, because I like the sort of in-depth, her and Chris Hayes. I like the way they, dig deep into a story and get really lost in the details. Well, there was an MSNBC, NBC news channel. It actually had a couple of different news channels to choose from. And so I clicked on it, and it happened to be playing a clip from Rachel Maddow's show on Monday. However, I recognized it was a clip that I had watched from last Wednesday. So I was already starting to go, oh, well, okay, so this is obviously this is curated material, right? That they've gone out and assembled channels around certain themes. And so I got a little pissy when I was like, this isn't news. This is like a week ago.
This is old.
This is old, yeah. And so as I started clicking around, like on the different news channels, it was essentially, assemblage of greatest hits from various talk shows and punditries and things like that. And for most of those other channels that were doing like headline stuff, it was literally just like a 45-second blurb. It was a headline. There was no in-depth beyond saying this thing happened. Right. And of those sort of headline things, a lot of it was entertainment news. So I just kind of was like, ugh. However, there were two channels that I did like. There was Sky News out of England, yeah. And then the Reuters one, which was just straight up a live stream of their broadcast.
Oh, wow.
So for those two, I could actually watch events in real time, things that were going on in the world. So those kind of became my default, as opposed to any of the other news channels. So
because those were just frustrating and less than satisfying because it was not.
But again, again, you're talking about like the Pluto model is it's all free content, and the way they do it is they assemble channels based around a theme or a personality. Like there was a Neil deGrasse Tyson channel. There was a Conan O'Brien channel,
which was not what I expected. What were you expecting when you saw the Conan O'Brien channel?
Well, because I expected two things, really. I expected clips from the current show on TBS because I figured they couldn't access anything from his NBC days.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And I also expected, there's a great web series that he's been doing for a couple of years called Serious Jibber Jabber, which is an hour-long interview type show where he's one-on-one with his comedy heroes, sitting around like a dark table, and it's kind of Charlie Rose style. And so there were elements of that. They wouldn't just straight up replay an episode from TBS. They would, like, again, create a 30-minute block around a theme. So it might be remotes that they did on the show where he goes out of the studio and films, some exploration of something. Or it might be 30 minutes centered around all of Will Forte's Ted Turner bits or something like that. But then there was also, he's hosted a lot of things. He goes to colleges frequently and does like hour-long talks. And so he's hosted the press, the DC, the big thing that they have for the national press every year that the president goes to, and they bring a comedian in and kind of roast everybody in the room. And he's done that twice. So it was just a 24 hours of just pulling stuff with Conan, which I actually love. That was one of my more favorite channels to kind of just go to and veg out on, which I guess brings me to what I think Pluto's model is kind of built on, because, the frustrating part, I haven't had cable in a long time. And Hulu and kind of seeking out, movies online, maybe through less than legal means, has been the way I access a lot of my, movies and shows that I watch.
That's our next podcast line, by the way. Totally not illegal movies. Just distributed.
I like how with season 2, there's a theme with you, Adam, of things that are kind of illegal. I like this trend.
Dangerous, Adam.
I'm walking things out slowly before I confess that I was the second shooter for JFK on our final episode or something. I don't know. But yeah, so again, with Hulu and Netflix and various services like that, they want you to go watch a thing, right? They want you to go watch all of a thing in order, whether you're binging it, whether you're, watching one episode a day, one episode a week, whatever, you seek out that thing that you want to see. Whereas Pluto is really set up for you to just turn it on and flip around like we used to do back when I was a kid.
Right. When you could,
right.
You could change a channel and it would actually change like immediately instead of the weird guide, wait, load. There's your channel.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you wanted to know what was coming up on another channel, you went to that little paper TV guide thing.
Yeah.
And
or you just circled around until you go through the end and you.
But and so that is both a pro and a con, I guess, about the way it's set up because it's all curated material, all pulling stuff that is out there on the internet and putting it in a one-stop shop, this Pluto app. You're dealing with older material, older information, right? So you're not necessarily seeing the new shiny thing. However, a pro of that is it might. You might stumble on something that you might want to then go seek out. For example, like there were two web series that I stumbled on that I kind of liked. There was one called Mario Warfare on one of the sci-fi web series channels, which was a live action, all these Nintendo characters fighting against Bowser, and it was kind of done in this really serious style. But again, the episodes that I came in on was season 2 or whatever. They were in the second iteration of their thing. And so they're referencing a lot of things that I don't understand. So my impulse would then be to go to YouTube where they're posting all of this and watch it from the beginning. But I don't have that option on Pluto.
It sounds like it's the best and worst things of live TV put together. The best thing about live TV is you flip it on and it's whatever's there. It's the element of discovery. Yeah. I did not know about the Conan O'Brien, the Serious Jibber Jabber, I think you said it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that, but that's all I ever saw on that channel. I was expecting to see his late night show or clips from it, but all I ever saw was the web series, and now I'm really interested in it, but I didn't expect it.
Yeah, but it's fantastic.
But it's also the worst thing about live TV, right? Which is you can't schedule things, you can't go back and start a show from the beginning, which now seems weird.
Yeah, so you're kind of trapped a little bit. But
so
again,
what wins for you on that? The romance, the nostalgic romance of this is how TV was, kind of, or do you prefer the I can watch whatever I want when I want?
I don't think there was any nostalgia for me. I mean, other than maybe the first night of like, oh, okay, I see how this is set up because. It's also kind of aping, in a way, like any cable service, like DirecTV or Dish Network or something like that, where you can kind of scroll through and see channels, and channels are organized around a theme, whether it's a food channel, a cooking channel, whatever. But I kind of felt like a lot of the things that we were seeing were. I don't know. It was like the B Team sometimes,
Yeah.
like the food channel. It's funny that you gave me this challenge when you did, because about a week prior to when you challenged me, I was home with my family in Virginia, and without fail, there's always one night when I'm there for a week where I just can't go to sleep, and so I end up just sitting on the couch, and they've got DirecTV, and just flipping. And I remember this last time sitting there at 1:00 in the morning flipping through, and it's DirecTV. It's got 1,000 channels. I couldn't find anything that I gave a shit about, like anything that I wanted to land on. And so what tends to happen is I always default when it's like that. I usually land on the Food Network because at that time of night there's a Chopped marathon, and I like Chopped, or the Travel Channel because at that time of night there's Andrew Zimmern's Bizarre Foods, and I like that show. So I kind of default to that. But even with the DirecTV model, there's still the option of you can rewind, you can look, you can seek out things. There's on-demand movies too that they offer. So I just feel that our mindset now is, and I think the way that the sort of niche production of all media now is you can seek it out. You have the convenience of watching it when you want to. So I don't know. I think Pluto can be successful in just being a thing that you go to when you just want to shut off your brain. You don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what you want to watch. So you just go and just turn it on for that background noise. Maybe, I don't know.
It sounds like a lot of the same frustrations, Sarah, that you had with cable. The way Adam was describing DirecTV is there's really nothing on, and we.
Yeah, because really, I mean, when we have cable, I'm like, of all the 100 channels we get, I maybe watch 4 of them, Like, I watch the BBC because I like the shows, I like just the idea. I watch Bravo because it's my guilty pleasure. I love me some Housewives. And then it goes between sort of like the Discovery Channel sometimes. I like AMC just because of the shows that are on there, but really, that's about it. I don't really go and watch all these other shows because I just don't have an interest in it. I'll watch Discovery if there's a Mythbusters marathon because I love Mythbusters, but other than that, like, there's not a lot of channels that I watch, and then it's like, well,
right.
For the cost, and I know that Comcast is the evil overlord, and so it was like we did the math once, and it was like a $25 or $50 difference between a bundle and then not having cable, you know what I mean? Just because
they really try to push you to have the cable and the internet, and now they're we're one of the people where they're putting the caps, the 300 gigabyte caps on it, and I blow through that in a minute, and it's not because necessarily I'm streaming a whole bunch of movies, but because
when we upload videos,
I do large file uploads. Yeah, we do all the time, and so I'm really frustrated because they're putting the squeeze on us, and it's like, well, even if the math worked out to be worse in some ways, if I just had internet, I almost want to be like, I just want to be like, screw you, I'm just going to do the internet anyway, which joke's on me because, they're getting my money. But if there were any other, I mean, really, any other provider that was any good and that reached where we are, I would go
in a second. Like, we're just waiting for Google Fiber to get here, and then, like, or something.
Well, and that's what, I was real happy when I was moving to Charlotte because I know Google, this is one of the first cities where Google Fiber is going to roll out, and we can actually see their building across from where I work. And so I still don't know exactly when it's supposed to happen, but I the same thing. I get my internet through Time Warner, and I just have an internet, service, and I get at least twice a week, letters from their customer service rep of, for the low price of only $64, you can bundle and add all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't need that. Right. I don't want that. I don't even have a TV, So, there's a lot of steps that would have to happen.
Because before I met Jeff, I mean, the first year we dated, I didn't have cable, and I hadn't had cable television for like 3 years, and so I had always had internet though, and so when I moved back to Columbus, I had no internet and no cable, and that was a little hard. I had one place in my house where I had to where I could put my computer, and it would get the Wi-Fi signal because either one of my neighbors didn't have a protected thing, and it would bounce off into like a beam in this one part of my house where I just left my computer and I could go online and see the world a bit.
She had one subspace buoy.
Yeah, really and truly. And, like, I had my table there, and I was like, what is... And I had stacked it up because, like, depending on the day, I'd have to, like, put the thing up high to get reception or low to get reception. And it was hard. Yeah. So I don't think I would ever want to live in a place where I didn't have internet, because I don't think you can, especially with our jobs and doing and acting and film and whatever. You have to have internet, but...
Well, it's a utility now, right? I mean,
it is.
Is it officially regulated as a utility yet, or is that just in progress?
That was, I know that was a big argument that was happening about a year and a half, 2 years ago, because this, the the discussions of like net neutrality and how much control the providers are allowed to have based on access on our end, and a lot of that conversation is still going out, and the 300, the throttling thing that you were just talking about is kind of right now their way around it. Like it kind of fits into the current legal description of what they are allowed and not allowed to do, but it's a shady way to do it.
Specifically because if you have a Scott actually, Scott in the chat room, user Red Top Mountain 6945 Clubfoot has one of these Xfinity boxes where it's kind of like their answer to a Chromecast or an Apple TV or something like that. And streaming video off of that, my understanding is, does not count against this 300 gigabyte cap.
Right.
Because it's from them. So video that you stream from Comcast won't count, but video you stream from Netflix, and they're able to ID what services you're streaming from, does count against it, and everything else counts against your cap, which, whatever.
It's just dumb, and because they're not doing it in all cities, you know what I mean? Like, they're just testing it out. It almost feels like, oh, well, you're in a big city, we're going to pick on you. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, out of the 5 cities, and it's like, God... But, like, people in cities need more gig because we use it more and we've got other stuff going on. Whereas, like, if we're out in the country, it's like, well, why don't you put a 300 cap on them and see what happens? Why are you trying to... It's like they're purposely trying to repress the people who they know are going to use it more in cities because of all the things you have to do.
Right. User The Raging Hulk in the chat room says he's not sure if it counts against or not, but I'm almost 100% certain that I read recently that video from Comcast does not count against your data cap, which is...
And that makes sense because they want to incentivize it.
Yeah, I mean, they're a business. Their goal is to make money. I get it.
So my question is, do you think that like Apple TV and the Fire TV Stick, do you think all companies are going to start creating their own version of the box? So instead of having, cable in like the whatever sense, like it's now in a box. If you have this box, then you can have more freedom.
Sounds like what Comcast is trying right now with their... it sounds like what they're trying right now.
But then, like, I mean, because with DirecTV, you already get a box, but like maybe they can like redo the box to where it's like you have a streaming service, and then it's.
But with DirecTV, they're aggregating all these various different channels and production companies. Whereas you look at something that's like more targeted, like like an HBO Go subscription or something like that. Like that's what it feels like the providers are trying to do. They're trying to create their own, I don't know, network, for lack of a better word. I don't know. But, and so going back to maybe another con with the Pluto service, is, talking about advertisers and how they pay for it. Because, again, it's a totally free service.
Right, which, does that pass the sniff test? Why is it free?
But you look back, I remember I first got a Hulu subscription when it was free and everything was free. And the only thing was you had to watch like a commercial at the beginning and the end of whatever 30-minute program. And then eventually they created, this one tier of subscription, and then they created a second tier of subscription. So
now, to be fair, they still only play one commercial 3 times. Right.
Right. But so I don't know what the next step would be for Pluto. But going back to the commercials, it varied from channel to channel. And I guess that probably varies based on whatever type of agreement they have with that provider. Like with the Conan channel, there were hardly any commercials. Like you maybe saw a commercial between every, 30-minute or hour-long block of whatever program they had stuck in there. Couple that with, speaking of Hulu, sorry, I didn't mention this. They actually, Pluto has an agreement with Hulu where they are allowed to offer certain programs from Hulu's catalog. So Pluto, for example, has like a 70s channel or an 80s channel or a 90s channel. And so they'll grab sitcoms and things that are being offered on Hulu and then drop it in the 90s channel where they have like all Seventh Heaven episodes or Wings. I watched a couple of Wings episodes.
Wings. Man,
or Twin Peaks. But the difference is because it is almost like a Pluto sponsorship with a Hulu sponsorship, those were the channels where I was seeing the most commercials, because not only would you have to watch the Pluto advertisements, then there were already built in the Hulu advertisements on top of that. So
they probably are making no money on that then, right? Because how do you structure these deals? Because maybe, all right, so maybe you why do you bring Hulu in? You probably bring Hulu in so that you can say Pluto TV has Hulu. We are a one-stop shop, or we're on the road to being a one-stop shop, right?
Yeah.
And maybe the ads that you're seeing, maybe there's some sort of algorithm where it's based on channel traffic. So channels that are getting more views are also maybe getting proportionally more ads, so that it is a better buy for the advertiser. So that the advertiser, and I don't know, I'm just making this up.
It's a 2-for-1.
Yeah,
sure,
they come to Pluto, and Pluto, and they're like, why should we spend money, with you? It says, well, we'll make sure that we don't waste your advertisements on low volume channels. We'll put them in, highly trafficked channels. But I don't know if that's what they're doing. It's just a guess.
And again, the weird thing is to control, I imagine, whatever complicated dance they're doing with Hulu, the channels that offer Hulu programming don't operate the same way as all of other Pluto's channels. So if like going back to Wings, I could only watch 6 episodes from the first season, and then I could watch random episodes for every season following after that, as opposed to being able to access every episode chronologically. And there was no autoplay feature as well. So once a 30-minute episode was done, if I wanted to watch the next episode, I had to access that channel again and go in through the drop down on that 90s channel and like click that next episode of Wings. I had to find it.
Right.
There was no way to search it out too. So they made it really not user friendly, I guess, to discourage.
More attractive to stay with their own stuff. It probably costs them. I wonder if it costs them money per broadcast of each piece of Hulu content. So if you make this deal with Hulu and you say, okay, every time we play one of your shows, we will pay you some money, but we'll also let you play your ads. So hopefully that will bring our rate down as Pluto TV. But also to try to offset some of that cost, we're also going to run our ads on top of it. So then you're kind of like almost a weird reseller in a way, but they've got to be losing money on the Hulu side of it, and it's got to be just to get attention.
But I think because Hulu is a huge corporation and they can take a loss. Whereas like if Pluto gets people from Hulu to come to Pluto, then they're increasing their numbers, even if they kind of take a hit by paying Hulu to, you know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah, I think there's no way Pluto TV is making any money right now.
No, but I think they're just trying to get volume of people to come and see, and that in the long run is more beneficial than taking a hit financially, So
I, after watching it for a week, I don't know what Pluto's next step is. I don't know how they intend to grow. It was fun, and it was, I definitely see the benefit of grouping channels around certain things. Like there was a Cracked TV channel, which was just assembling all of their online web series that Cracked.com produces. And the weird thing is that's probably a channel I would be attracted to and watch. But again, most of what they're showing are all web series that I've already watched, After Hours or By the Numbers. So it's things that I would watch, but I need new content, I guess.
I've got,
but I also think it's good for people who don't necessarily think of what, you know what I mean? They don't think of web series or more obscure web series. You know what I mean? Because it's maybe.
You think it's good for content creators, then, Sarah?
I do. I think so. I mean, if you think about, especially if say we do a web series, right? And it's popular, and we're maybe reaching 1,000 people, and then Pluto's like, hey, we'd love to put it on your channel, and then say someone sees an episode and like, oh God, I would like to investigate that more. You know what I mean? I think it's good for getting people who are watching Pluto TV into watching other stuff,
I think it contributes to the weird factor, which is part of the appeal. But part of the thing I really like about the service is you hop in there and you're like, what is happening? Because you have everything from just these 4K videos of time-lapse nature photography stuff, which is cool, right? Just to have on as a different kind of background noise, right? It's like having the Yule log on your TV, right?
Which they also have that channel
Right,
now
they
for
do.
the holidays.
But then there's also like a 24-hour yoga channel. So if that's
Yeah.
if you have even a passing interest in it, and you can kind of see what's up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weird, quirky web series I like. I think that adds to the weird appeal, which I think is part of it.
Now, I will say
Right.
about the
That's a good
yoga
show off
channel,
star.
I think that's really helpful, especially for me, because like I'm trying to get back into my practice, and sometimes it's just hard because you're like, God, I don't want to do it myself. Whereas if you have this channel, you don't have to think. You can just like plug in. It's like, oh, we're doing these poses today, and that's great. And it can be 30 minutes,
Yeah.
it can be an hour, and it won't get stagnant. Like, you know, like if you back in the day you bought workout DVDs, it's like you know the routine,
Yeah.
and it gets boring. It keeps. I don't know. For me, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And you know, and I remember there was a challenge, Jeffrey, of trying to identify your
Yes.
favorite channel. There was a lot to choose from. There was an R. Kelly channel that
I don't
for
want to know
20
what was on that channel.
Clorox for all of your messes.
For 24 hours a day, all they do is run on a loop the Trapped in a Closet.
Saga.
It is apparently, I didn't watch the whole thing through, but apparently there were 33 chunks or segments of that story told. And so it runs about an hour and a half, and it just runs on a constant loop. You know, there's also a Weird Al channel, which apparently takes every video he's ever made, which assembles into about a 3-hour block and runs that on a 24-hour loop. So you can watch every Weird Al video ever made, and sometimes they would intercut with, he was doing a show for The Nerdist a couple of years ago called Face to Face, where he basically has a pretend conversation by editing the conversation from the other side with celebrities, like at Comic-Con or on the red carpet. So it creates this weird sort of exchange between him and the other person.
I'm going to react to nothing, so you are just going to have to guess. But keep laying the candidates out there.
You know, there was a lot of sciencey things offered. Like I said, the Neil deGrasse Tyson channel. There was a Steve Jobs channel, which I didn't care to look at. It just seemed like it kept playing this memorial to him over and over again. At least based on the description in the drop down. There's a CNET channel where they explain like software and tech that's coming out. One channel that I kind of liked was actually, there was a Nerdist channel where they aggregated all the Nerdist web series. And there was one other one that I liked, the Geek and Sundry, which was more demonstrating gadgets as opposed to I guess talking about things in theoretical, philosophical, you know, my top 3 channels were Conan, this Geek and Sundry, and the MST3K channel. Those were the 3 that I always kind of landed back to. So I'm gonna guess that it is either the Neil deGrasse Tyson channel or the Eye Candy channel.
Oh,
right, which channel? It is
One of those was a real guess. The other one is
I will check out the Neil deGrasse Tyson channel. It is actually the MST3K channel because, like you, when I first turned on Pluto TV, it was one of the first. It was probably the first thing that I really stopped on, and I was like, I love MST3K.
That was me.
I haven't watched it in forever.
Well, it's such a nostalgic thing too, you know, and so it was instantly like.
But here's the thing: we turn it on late at night to help us go to sleep.
Yep. But it's a comfort.
It's
a
great.
comfort
It
thing,
is comfort.
right?
Great.
And I remember most of them, so it's like,
Can I say too, when I turned it on, because it reminded me, since it was a 24-hour channel that just plays MST3K, my brother and I would always live for every year when Comedy Central would do Turkey Day, which was 30 straight hours of MST3K on the network. And I instantly started singing the song in my head, the theme song for Turkey Day every year, which I could sing right now. If you wanted me to.
do it.
We'll see if YouTube can match it and then ping us for copyright
Ooh,
infringement. I
okay.
dare them.
All right, let's try it. We gather together to watch cheesy movies on Comedy Central on Thanksgiving Day. It's Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's 30 straight hours and it's called Turkey Day. Yay. Every year, like instantly, that is a part of my brain that will never die.
I love it.
I will be 95 in the home, rocking back and forth, just singing that over and over again.
Well, I definitely would enjoy and thank Pluto TV for getting that channel on, because I always saw when it was actually airing, I would always see the part where they're sitting in the theater, but I always missed the interstitials with the puppets and the setting up of the plot line of the day. And I really have got to catch so many of those now, which then kept me in it. And so when I was actively watching the movie parts, like, I know that they were good at riff tracking, but I hadn't realized how, like, what a high level some of those jokes really run on.
Right.
Like, they reference some really, like, obscure or like philosophical stuff, or like really specific things.
Yeah.
And it's smart.
So, but so again, maybe the thing, because they're rebooting the series right now. They've got that Kickstarter campaign that I think ends
got funded
today.
Yeah,
it got funded up for the 9 episodes.
I think so. Yeah, the last time I checked, they were 96% funded. So I guess they got fully funded.
Yeah, they got funded up to 4 episodes, and I think they said if they raised up to a certain amount.
Perhaps user Wolverine 9797 will let us know, but I don't know.
Yeah, but so maybe that's a way. It puts it back out there in another way, and people get excited about it and get nostalgic, and then you go do this other thing.
Okay, so we got to wrap this part up because we didn't move on to a challenge, but I want to ask 2, I think, important questions. One, in an imaginary universe where all you could get was Pluto TV, short answer, would that be satisfying? And 2, either way, is Pluto TV something you plan to incorporate in the way you watch online content now?
Perfect world answer would be no. Because I got really frustrated throughout the week of not being able to seek something out specifically. For example, I didn't realize that this was sort of cliffhanger week for mid-season finale.
Yeah.
For a lot of shows that I watch, and so I have to put them off for a week, and I'm going to watch them all today on Hulu.
Watch the Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah episode.
Okay.
Just watch the Trevor Noah with Jon Stewart.
Sure. The second question is, I would probably wander back to Pluto TV every once in a while with, like I said, I really enjoyed the Conan channel. Again, it's something that I feel I can turn on and veg out to or fall asleep to. The Neil deGrasse Tyson channel is wonderful. Geek and Sundry. I liked it. So it is probably something that I would return to. And my understanding is they fold, they create new channels. One thing that the site pointed out, that apparently when Robin Williams died, a little over a year ago, they created a channel for him that just had clips from movies, Mork and Mindy episodes. So it's constantly renewing itself. And like the Hulu partnership is new with him, they said, I think the last like 3 to 6 months. So, there will be new things there. So it's worth my time to drop in every once in a while and check it out.
That's exciting. So user Cyclops1991, in the chat room has beat imaginary user Wolverine 9797. He said they were completely funded, and he thinks for 14 episodes.
Oh, wow.
That's more than I thought,
That's fantastic.
Which is great.
Then they did. Yeah. Great.
So this week, I believe I lost the rock, paper, scissors challenge, and I must therefore pay the penalty.
That's right. So here's your challenge, Jeffrey.
All right.
I in my life's journey, have been exposed to this idea called mindfulness. You may or may not have heard of it. Yep, good. So specifically, it's one guy that kind of has developed it over the last 40 years in sort of Western medicine thought. His name's Jon Kabat-Zinn, and he sort of created a a sort of program, an 8-week program in mindfulness. But in a nutshell, mindfulness is just training your brain. It incorporates some Eastern sort of meditation, or at least a meditation sort of practice. And it's the idea of putting yourself totally in the present moment. You are not ruminating on past failures or even past successes. You are not putting too much energy or thought into, what's going to happen tomorrow, or being too obsessed with goals or goal-centric. It's the idea of bringing as much awareness to this present moment as possible. There's a lot of exercises. I don't have necessarily one thing to throw at you to investigate. So I would say I challenge you throughout the week to maybe read up more on it. But the challenge that I do have for you is one of the things that he incorporates is this thing called body scan, which is a 30-minute meditation practice.
Okay.
And it's there's an audio file, and I'm going to send that to you after after this is done.
It's a podcast. That's right.
It is a podcast. I always get confused.
Podcast broadcast.
So I'm going to send that. Podcast broadcast. So I'm going to send it to you. So I challenge you every day for the next week. You have to do the body scan practice.
Okay.
It talks you through it. Like, it's a 30-minute. You do it lying down on your back, and it actually, it explains what the purpose is. But it's the idea of sort of checking in with yourself and checking in with the present moment, entering sort of a non-judgmental space, and the idea of sort of taking that, figuring out how to discover it within the body scan practice, and then the challenge is to approach life in that way, to approach every moment with sort of a non-judgmental sort of engagement of things, whether it's washing the dishes, working on a project, driving to work, whatever it is, but to be fully present in that moment.
That sounds cool.
I like that. That'll be fun.
That sounds very cool. I'm looking forward to this, especially because I was concerned that your challenge to me was going to be to give up coffee.
I always think about it, and
I was ready for it this week. I was like, it's coming. He's going to ask me to give up coffee. It's coming.
It will probably come at some point, but until
You're going to wait until it's like the break between, the show's over, and we don't know when we're coming back. That's probably when that would
Right?
happen.
Yeah.
Make it dry out.
Okay. Well, that'd be a good challenge. Before we do sign-offs, or we can do sign-offs now or whatever, I have a little post-show content for that I think Adam would enjoy.
Yeah.
It will be a matter of if I can get the Google Hangout to do the screen share. So if this screws up, then we'll just cut it out and whatever.
Okay.
But a long time ago, Adam and I did a little short film together at the Civil War Institute.
Oh my God, I remember this.
I have a clip.
I still have never seen it.
I have a clip of your scene.
That's great.
Hold up, ready to go. So if I can screen share with the Google Hangout, I'm going to try that. And here we go. Here we go. Sharing screen share.
Try to imagine this enormous space filled with people and machinery, and smoke and noise and dirt. Every scrap we can find. Melted down tools, old train parts, even rails from railroad lines. There's just not enough iron for all the ironclads we need to break this blasted blockade.
I can tell you, I remember it was me talking to that guy about, we need more iron. We've got to up our iron output to make these ironclads. Like, I remember I was so excited because it was a walk and talk. I got to walk down this long hallway while a camera tracked me. It was beautiful.
Right. I like that our
closest I will
scenes
ever
in
be
a
to the West
back-to-back
Wing.
too. That was kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
So if you were in the live, then there was no audio in there either. But I'll just cut it into the show afterwards. It probably won't even make the audio version of the show, but maybe it will. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, I think we should move on to sign-offs.
Yeah. So I am Adam, and I shan't be returning to Pluto today, but at some point in the future.
I am Jeff, and I am mindfully checking my body to tell me that I have a little pain in my lower back.
I'm Sarah Lynn, and I'm about to binge watch some Housewives on some cable television.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop the broadcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We are out.
Cool. And now
I'll have
we
to
stop.
figure it out. Yeah, I had no way. I tested it last night, but I had no way to really test in time in
Right.
a live situation how it would.
to know what was happening at my end when you played
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So, all right, I'm hitting
Yep,
stop.
me too.
All right, I'm hitting stop.